In today's video, I am taking you through a week, Monday to Friday, of dinners with my family. I shot this vlog style. It's very off the cuff, just very realistic what this family actually ate or didn't eat for dinner. If you are looking for like perfectly planned and plated meals, then this is not the video for you. I have often said that we are just a regular, real family out here trying to get through each day, and so these meals may not be perfect, but at least hopefully it will give you just a real look into kind of an average family throughout the week trying to make dinner time work. Hello, it is Monday. I'm going to get the children ready and off to school, and then we are gonna go pick up some groceries. I just pulled in to Walmart and my grocery order is ready for pickup. I'm going to actually run in the store and pick out a few things. There's some produce items that if I have time, I want to run in and pick them out myself, and then I'm going to drive around to the side and pick up my grocery order. My kids helped me out with this last night, and this is something especially on particularly busy weeks. If you can see a busy week coming, this is something I recommend doing if at all possible, and that is to try to get ahead of it by making a plan. I know it can be kind of a bummer to spend part of your weekend, part of your, lazy, restful Sunday afternoon, talking to myself here, making a meal plan and making a grocery list. But if you possibly can, it takes some of the urgency and go, rush out of an otherwise very busy week. It takes some of the stress out of it. And my kids are actually old enough to help me with this now. They will remind me, hey mom, we're out of peanut butter, or hey mom, can we do bagels and cream cheese for breakfast this week? Or they'll give me dinner ideas, my husband too. But you can enlist the help of your family with this too. We were just sitting around watching basketball last night. I had my computer open. Sometimes I do it on my phone. I put in the groceries that I wanted for the week, kind of thought about dinners that I want to make. Now I'm here after dropping the kids off on Monday morning, ready to pick out my groceries and get right back home. I actually have some time for food prep today. I have time to cook today while the kids are at school. So I was thinking about something I could get going, prepared, maybe even cooking in the crock pot. So we're doing some meatballs. And since I'm gonna make them in the crock pot, I opted for a leaner ground beef. It's a 90-10. And then I have 2 eggs, about a tablespoon of Worcestershire ketchup, Italian seasoning, about half a cup each of breadcrumbs and Parmesan, salt and pepper to taste. I went pretty easy on the salt because the Parmesan cheese is salty. And now I'm just rolling them up into meatballs. The reason I went with a leaner ground beef is because I'm gonna cook these in the slow cooker, and I was worried that a fattier ground beef or even a beef and pork sausage mixture would render a lot of fat into the sauce. So I kept them pretty lean, but I am going to sear these before I slow cook them. I have a slow cooker with a saute function, so I can brown these meatballs for a minute or 2 on each side just to sort of lock them in. I was worried if I didn't do that, they might fall apart in the sauce as they cook, because I don't know that I've ever cooked meatballs from raw to cooked in the slow cooker. I've cooked fully cooked meatballs like into different sauces and things, and you could totally go that route with this. But since I had the time today, I thought I'd take the long way. You could brown the meatballs on the stove. You might even be able to pop them under the broiler, like on a foil lined cookie sheet for a minute or 2 if you wanted to get that sear. You could try cooking them from raw without browning them in the slow cooker. After I get the meatballs browned, I'm going to add 2 cans of crushed tomatoes. I'm gonna add probably a little garlic, probably some oregano and basil, salt and pepper, Parmesan wedge, maybe a few baby carrots to kind of add some sweetness. I'll take those back out once they're done cooking, but that was a trick I learned when I'm making marinaras, to put some carrots in it for the sweetness and kind of cut the acidity of the tomatoes. I will get that slow cooking, and then later on I'll make up some pasta and we'll have spaghetti and meatball marinara for dinner tonight. I will also do some kind of green veggie side. I have green beans, I have asparagus, I have stuff for salads, just whatever I'm feeling like throwing together tonight when this is ready to eat. And I have a loaf of sourdough bread that is cold proofing right now in the refrigerator. It should be ready to bake up tonight. I have been working on getting a sourdough starter going from scratch for like the last 6 weeks or so. I think I maybe finally have it. I was able to bake my first loaf of sourdough bread successfully a few weeks ago, so we're gonna try it again tonight to see how it turns out. I actually just fed my sourdough starter last night, and I fed it 1 to 2 to 2, so it's already doubled in about 12 hours, well, a little over 12 hours, and it's gonna be time to feed it again soon. But I am going to make some banana bread from the discard. I am gonna try out a recipe. I can't remember, I'll leave the name of the website up here, but just kind of a basic banana bread recipe, but with sourdough starter. I told the kids that I would make that up while they're at school so they can have it as a snack after school. And I'll take some to my daughter who has band rehearsal tonight too. We'll get that going and see how it turns out. Okay, so this one did not turn out quite as good as my last one. I'm still gonna let it cool off and slice it and see how it is. It didn't proof quite enough. Maybe my sourdough starter wasn't quite strong enough. Okay, so this one definitely did not turn out quite as well as the last loaf that I baked. It's not terrible, like it's not super gummy or anything, and I just toasted up a little piece with butter. It's fine, we'll eat it. But one of the things I'm learning about sourdough, really any bread baking, even with commercial yeast, it just takes a while to get the hang of it. You just gotta keep working at it till you get it just right. My last loaf was like perfect. This one, not so much, so we'll keep working at it. It is Tuesday. And remember yesterday, Monday, when I said I had a lot of time at home during the day so I could spend some extra time cooking that day? I actually have some time for food prep today. Well, today has been kind of the opposite. This is a day I knew I was gonna be out of the house a lot, running errands, appointments. I just got out of the shower after a workout and I pretty much have to walk out the door to go get kids from school and to and from activities for the evening. But since I don't have as much time for cooking today, I'm very glad that I made those meatballs yesterday, and I made sure to make a lot of them. I basically doubled the recipe from what I would normally make, because tonight I can use those leftover meatballs along with some bread, some cheese, make some meatball sandwiches, and just throw some grapes and maybe some chips or crackers from the pantry onto the plate and call it a meal. So that's what we're doing tonight. A little bit of extra work, kind of like a cook once, eat twice type situation, has made it really easy for me to come up with a meal tonight on a day when I'm not gonna have as much time for cooking. Good morning, it is Wednesday. We have arrived at the halfway point. You are in the cabinet over our little coffee bar. I'm just making myself a cup of coffee. And I just got a new coffee to try from Trade. They are sponsoring today's video. If you have watched my channel for any length of time, you have seen me with my coffee mug over and over again, am I right? But believe it or not, I actually wasn't always a big coffee drinker. I actually started drinking coffee around the age of 30. Coincidentally, that's when we had our second kid. Or maybe it's not such a coincidence. So I was over the moon when Trade Coffee reached out and said that they wanted to sponsor a video, because me and coffee, it's like a match made in heaven. So here's the deal with Trade Coffee. They have over 450 different roasts from about 50 of the country's top roasters. And they will send them directly to your doorstep in regular increments, so you never have to worry about running out. Even if you're new to coffee, or maybe you're not sure what you like, or you just wanna try some new things, Trade has a quiz that you can take on their website. And so you answer a few questions about different flavors that you like, maybe things that you've tried before, and they will pinpoint some roasts that they think you will enjoy, and those are the ones that they'll send to you. And I can go into my account and pick the coffees that I wanna receive. I can reorder coffees that I've tried that I've enjoyed. Plus with Trade, if they don't get that first bag right in your subscription, if you decide that you don't like it, they will try again. They'll replace it for free, and they'll keep trying until they get it right for you. My husband and I have been buying whole bean coffee that we grind ourselves, but you can also get ground coffee. And we have purchased coffee from lots of different local roasteries, from places that we have visited, from different stores, and I have to say that the price is pretty much on par with what we would pay from other places that we purchased whole bean coffee from. Trade is offering a fantastic discount for my viewers right now. On your first order, you can get 40% off. Just go to drinktrade.com/cmindymom. That's drinktrade, TRADE.com/cmindymom. Again, 40% off your first order of Trade coffee at drinktrade.com/cmindymom. And thank you again to Trade Coffee for sponsoring today's video and most of my mornings. I am back at the ballpark tonight. I have no idea what's for dinner. And I think it's important for somebody to hear that, because frankly, I think sometimes, at least I and maybe other people, get too caught up in having a perfectly orchestrated plan and a perfectly executed planned dinner. I came across this video from Rachel Cruz the other day. It just hits the nail on the head.
You know that you can have sandwiches for dinner?
Yes, Rachel, we can. just have sandwiches. I have stopped holding myself to the impossible standard that every single meal needs to be perfect, that every single meal needs to be perfectly balanced, perfectly nutritious, needs to be the best, most amazingest meal that we've ever had. Sometimes we can just have sandwiches. Sometimes we can just eat leftovers. Sometimes we can just have some cheese and crackers, slice up an apple, call it a day. Sometimes we can just take a handful of granola and throw it into a yogurt cup and eat it on our way to the ballpark. If I pour myself a bowl of cereal later on when we get home and then go to bed, the sun is still going to come out tomorrow and there's still going to be plenty of opportunities for more meals and more well-balanced meals then. So it's totally okay. I'm not going to lie. I'm probably just going to go to the concession stand and get a Milky Way for myself. That'll be dinner tonight. What is the baseball mom equivalent of girl dinner? It's probably like sunflower seeds and peanut M&Ms and Gatorade. It is Thursday. We're almost there. We've almost made it to the weekend. My husband and I have a meeting at the church tonight and they are serving dinner there. The kids could have come with us, but they didn't want to. So I'm going to make them a little dinner at 3:30 in the afternoon because this is the time that I have to prep dinner. I know there's some other moms out there that understand. Either you're making dinner at 3 or you're making dinner at 9. Like there's no in between. I told them I would make some chicken and rice for them this week, so I'm gonna use a couple of shortcuts. First of all, I'm just gonna make up some of this fried rice that I picked up from the freezer section. And we're gonna do some orange chicken. So I am gonna use chicken nuggets. I'll get these going in the air fryer and then I'll make up some orange sauce to toss those in. I am starting by grating some of the zest from this orange and then I'll slice it up and juice it and get all of the juice into the pan here. Now I'm adding some minced garlic, about all I have left in this jar. Half a cup of brown sugar, a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar or white vinegar. I'm sure other kinds of vinegar would be fine, plus 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And I'm going to bring this up to a simmer. You might be wondering why I didn't just pick up orange chicken from the freezer section, like a bag that I could prepare for myself, because a lot of brands make that. But it's basically chicken nuggets and then a little pouch of sauce that you heat up and toss the nuggets in. And since I have to cook the chicken nuggets anyway, that's about the amount of time it takes me to make the sauce from scratch. And I just think it tastes better. But as you can see, I took the shortcut with the chicken nuggets and not having to like prep and cook chicken, and also with the rice. So there are some shortcuts that I'm taking, and you can see those in other areas in my grocery haul too, when I can get out ahead of a week like this and think about what types of things I can buy that will help me through the week, little shortcut items that will help us in a busy week, still have the nutrition and the food that we like, and stay out of the drive-thru as much as possible. My first batch of chicken nuggets is finishing up in the air fryer, and my sauce has been simmering here for about 5 minutes, so I am going to stir in a cornstarch slurry, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of water. You wanna make sure it's cold water. Don't put cornstarch straight into hot liquid, it will clump up. I'm just gonna stir this over low heat, medium-low heat, until it starts to thicken, and then it will be ready to coat my chicken. I'm just gonna put a little of the chicken in the bowl with a little sauce, give it a toss, and it will be ready to put on top of the rice. I have my first batch mostly packed up here in this little container because I'm heading out the door to pick my son up from swim, and at the same time I'm gonna drop this off to my oldest daughter who has a late band rehearsal tonight. She's gonna be excited because it's one of her favorites. Our oldest daughter is a percussionist in her high school band, and they traveled to Texas over the weekend for a percussion competition. So my husband and I decided that we would take the 2 little ones separately down to Dallas so we could catch her competition the following day. And on Friday night, we were able to catch a Rangers game. My husband is a lifelong Texas Rangers fan, so we watch a lot of the games on TV. We try to get down to 1 or 2 a season. It's really a special treat for our family. So dinner was an assortment of things at the ballpark. And I was very excited because I am the only one in the family who hasn't been to the new Texas Rangers Stadium. I have not seen the new ballpark yet. Unfortunately, they had the roof on that night. We thought the weather was going to be good enough for them to have the roof open, but the roof was closed, which is good because there's some temperature control, but at the same time, there's nothing like watching a baseball game in the fresh air. But we still had a great time, and we got to see a Rangers win. So that was dinner Friday night. Thank you again for coming along with us throughout this week, and to Trade Coffee for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check them out. They're linked in the description box below, or go to tradecoffee.com/cmindymom. Pick out one of these videos to watch next, and I'll see you there.